The Last of Us Part 2. Arguably my favorite game, and one that has been played by dozens of YouTubers and simple gamers alike. Something so intriguing about this game, something that garners so much talk even today, is the over-the-top, gory, nasty, ultra-realistic violence the game has. Game that is also highly regarded as one of the most visually stunning games, has some of the most obscene violence many gamers have ever witnessed.
We knew we were pushing boundaries with that cinematic. We are making a violent game. We're not going to shy away from how violent it is. It is part of what we're trying to say. And I thought it was a great discussion initially about what is the appropriate level of violence. When is something so violent that it just turns you off where you just don't want to experience it at all?
Now, violence is not only included in The Last of Us Part 2, but is a necessary driving factor for the story of our main characters, Ellie and Abby. Striving for revenge in an age where survival is your top 5 priorities is bound to invoke violence. It's through the inclusion of violent scenes such as this one, where Ellie brutally murders Abby's friend Nora, that we, as gamers, begin to differentiate. However, it's not just violent scenes that we begin to view differently depending on how we assess the story, the characters, and ourselves. Joel's heartwarming moment of playing Future Days by Pearl Jam for Ellie hits hard for many players of the game for its deep familial bond that the scene creates. However, what shines through to me is a sense of uncomfortableness and unease between the two so-called family members.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
Unease can lead to worry, which can lead to risks, which can lead to violence. Damn, I sound like Yoda, huh?
3 times. I've played this game from all the critical perspectives you could have. I played it as a pessimist, and I played this game from an optimistic point of view. And what I gathered from this is this: The Last of Us Part 2 is all about perspective. That's the key theme to the story and what it's trying to tell. It revolves around perspective. Literally, you play Ellie's perspective on the path of vengeance and regret, killing hundreds of motherfuckers in your way, and you play in Abby's perspective, where you discover a path of redemption and the humanity to those you kill as Ellie, changing your perspective of Abby as a villain.
As our perspective changes throughout the game due to character influence, so do the visuals we are presented with. From peaceful snow-covered plains we're presented in Jackson, Wyoming before Abby comes to rain on the parade, to towering buildings overwhelmed and consumed with moss in Seattle, representing the start of the horrid world. From calm and sunny skies to ones filled with never-ending rain, we follow the internal journey of Ellie and Abby while being shown a visual to accommodate, whether we realize it or not. As Ellie cannot live without revenge, her mind becomes clouded just as the sky surrounding her does. And as Abby cannot live peacefully despite gaining her revenge, her mind and her environment crumble around her all the same.
No! What the fuck?
Of course, The Last of Us Part 2 is not the only game to include violence and use it to drive a story. It's also not the only game to use visuals as a representation of internal conflict. Games like Hitman, GTA, and Mortal Kombat are heavily driven by violence simply because that's what the game demands out of the characters. Games such as Detroit Become Human and Resident Evil use visuals to represent the emotions the character feels, with Connor from Detroit Become Human facing harsher weather whenever he has software instability. He's an android, there's a whole thing there, I don't have time to get into that, but you know. However, something The Last of Us Part 2 did differently was build up a hatred to a character that you're then going to be made to play as, perhaps even learn to love. Despite being shown the graphic visuals of Joel being mutilated by Abby, it's through the experience of playing as her character that you begin to feel sorry for her. Or you don't. I don't tell you what to do. Our understanding of the visuals we see is influenced by our past experiences and our personal interpretations. There's no logical reason to get mad at someone for turning away in disgust from Abby killing Joel, just as there's no reason to get confused as to why someone feels more sorry for Abby than Joel after his death. The risk allows unique and differing interpretations to blossom from the game. Erica Siegel from the Association of Psychological Science stated in an article about visual perception, "Feelings do more than influence judgments of what you have seen. They influence the actual content of perception. What we feel in regards to Ellie, Abby, Joel's death, and the world we play through will physically change how we see it. Different aspects of story, character growth, and cinematography hold special places in everyone's heart, simply based on how they perceive The Last of Us Part 2. We're all shaped by the world in different ways, causing our interpretation of said world to be different as well. Siegel study shows that the personal shaping of the world physically interprets how we observe visuals. Effectively, those visuals will then stimulate emotions in our mind, causing us to interpret the world or these visuals differently. Is anyone else getting a headache? Interpretation acts as a cycle, one that is never ending. We see what we've been tailored to see, changing our perception again and again and again, and so on. The Last of Us Part 2's use of violence as a driving characteristic of the story forces the player to choose what their emotional state will be while playing the game, which may or may not be different every playthrough. I don't really cry, and I cried when I finished The Last of Us Part 2 for the first time, so yeah, that says a lot about what the game is, and what it does to people. Perception works in mysterious ways that The Last of Us Part 2 capitalized on through their incredibly risky storytelling. A risk that I will always be thankful for.
I surely lose myself.